Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is our new distanced greeting one another as brothers and sisters in Christ. In your family group, your household group, feel free to do the usual, what I like to call the howdy hi hugs. And across the aisles and back and forth, you can wave or bow or thumbs up, peace sign, depending on when you were born. Like I say, isn't it amazing how much faster that goes? If it's about time efficiency, I think we've come on to something, but that's not what that's about. So, I was mentioning to a couple who were here earlier that the music today you're going to hear is from our Clarion Choralaires. I sang one season with them during our decade in Clarion when they were kind of low on basses and they recruited me. Because when were their concerts? Christmas and Easter. When are my busiest times at church? Christmas and Easter. So I helped them out once. But Linda sang it the whole time we were there. And how many of you have ever been to St. Jude's Sweet Corn Festival in Cedar Rapids? Good stuff. And I realized August is ending and I missed it. And sweet corn season's coming to an end. And in addition to the sweet corn and the fresh squeezed lemonade that they had, a friend of ours who sang in Choralaires with us, who has an amazing high baritone voice, plays in a polka band in the beer garden every year at St. Jude's. So we always got to see Monte and Chris. Wow. We enjoyed a cool one. And it's like, so no sweet corn, no Monte. Wait a minute. On a couple of those Choralaires CDs I've got, there's a solo by Monte. So today's final song is kind of upbeat, almost sounds like it should come from Lion King. And Monte has the solo. So I hope you enjoy the music today. Upper rooms in the back, out in the entryway, fancy church word, narthex. And also, we still have a couple of Good Grief books up here. What did we have this last Wednesday? Maybe nine people? So if you would like to hop in on that, we've looked at the intro materials in the first 4 chapters, so we got 6 chapters left over the next 3 Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. Zooming in. Let's see, I think we only had one person from out of state this last Wednesday. So feel free to jump into that if you would like to. And let's see, I noticed that as I was booting up the computer this morning and checking email and Facebook, that today is Kesha Billings' birthday, and also Kyla Lutz is her birthday. So be keeping them in your thoughts. And ladies, if you're watching the video, happy birthday. If you're not watching the video, happy birthday anyway. Any other announcements need to be made? Should I say? Yeah. Okay, so remember, we are doing the Christmas collection, what I call the Christmas shoe boxes. So if you're out and about doing school supply purchases and whatnot, the pile has started. So start bringing that stuff in, because in November that needs to get boxed up and headed north so that it's in kids' hands by Christmas. And let's see, we do say goodbye to August this coming week, don't we? So November going to be here before we know it. So probably at some point, if you have any questions, you can ask Carol, but I'll bet you at some point in the next week or two, she has a list of specific items. Yeah, I knew that. We didn't even plan that.
I'm attending a national project leader meeting, Zoom meeting, obviously, in a couple of weeks. So I'm hoping to get maybe some more information and some more ideas, but kind of the same old. It's almost easier sometimes to mention the things that they can't.
True.
That they can't have. You can't have candy or liquid or glass stuff or any kind of food or no vitamins.
Don't buy him a lighter.
No, but you can do like nails and hammers and things like that.
Okay, well that makes sense. That makes sense. Any other announcements and/or anniversaries, birthdays that we need to make mention of today? No? So nobody got any older this week? Yes! That's good. All right, well, for our opening song today, if you didn't happen to grab one of the orders of worship, Praise to the Lord from Clarion Choralaires, and it's based on a hymn that's in our hymn book. So there was a reason I chose this one. So as we come to our time of prayer, where by this time we were hoping maybe we'd have a handle on this coronavirus thing and things would be doing this, but for various and assorted reasons, and thank you very much to our college students who don't seem to think following protocols makes much sense, especially around our largest university communities. It's almost like this versus like this. So, continued prayers for people to, as my father used to say, use their heads for something other than keeping their ears apart, and practice the protocols until we have a vaccine. Racial tensions with recent events in Wisconsin seem to continue to be on the rise and in turmoil. So, as I've said all along, let's just pray for peace. However that comes about, let's pray for peace, because I think that's God's will for us. I've mentioned my colleague. She's been part of our book study, Dixie Lowdy. Today is her last Sunday at her church in Cahokia, Missouri. And it's a real bittersweet day. She knows it's time to move on. And there's, I won't say a significant percentage, let's just say there's a percentage of the congregation that aren't going to shed a tear as she leaves. And it's really a shame that after 7 years of ministry, that's where it's come. So thoughts with her as she brings her ministry to a close. And then I heard tell that Jim Shover Sr. is having hip surgery, or had hip surgery. Which is it?
He has it Thursday.
Has it Thursday. Do we have to call him the Bionic Man after that, or?
Well, this is a redo of the first one.
Oh. So this is like a tune-up, or?
Yeah, I guess so.
I tell you. Any other joys, concerns, prayer requests?
I have a concern, through the family of our lifetime member Bob Clare from the Ryan Legion. We had a military funeral and spent some time with the family. I'll tell you later a little event. And to Mr. Jack Gable, a good friend of mine from Colesburg, who I think it was a week or before I visited with him, I took him an application to the honor flight, and he passed away last Thursday.
So he decided to take a flight of his own.
I think he's on his way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so prayers for Bob and Jack and their families. Others?
Carolyn put it on the prayer request thing this morning later, but Pastor Clint Patterson was here, Reverend Clint was here at 72 to 74. He's having hip surgery in Mayo Tuesday.
Okay.
And then Chuck House, Gloria Mangle's husband, is having surgery on Tuesday to remove a growth on his shoulder that they've had trouble with. So.
Okay. And what's his first name again?
Chuck.
Chuck. That's what I thought you said, but I thought, you stole your name. So for Reverend Clint Patterson, who served this church, I'm trying to remember, he didn't make it back for the 150th, but isn't he one of the ones that sent a very nice letter?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
He's retired from full time, but he's still doing one Sunday a month when they need.
That sounds familiar. I can identify with that.
Right.
And then for Chuck Mangold, as he has a surgical procedure, and Nicole.
Chuck House is his name, but
Oh, okay.
Gloria's Mangle's husband.
And how does he spell that last name?
Just like the house.
Oh, I was thinking there was a W in it instead of a U. See, I tried to make it hard. And,
Yeah.
all right. Okay. others. Well, especially with this being last weekend of August, some schools have started, some haven't. Cedar Rapids finally started, they're not starting school until the 21st. Metro High School is the only high school that will be in sufficient repair to even consider offering face-to-face classes. And they've already said that Washington, Jefferson, and Kennedy, at the earliest, those schools will be habitable by January. So, like I say, man, that whole thing, and I know Joy Moe put up a picture of some of the wind during the storm that happened that completely went north and south of us in Cedar Rapids, and I decided we deserved that. Because we did the old hurricane thing. It still amazes me how much damage happened. And the hurricanes that are now down in the Gulf Coast, and as soon as, is it Laura? As soon as Laura's done, Hurricane M, whatever that name is coming right after it. So for people who are dealing with destruction and loss, there's a part of me that says, well, when you live in the Midwest, you got to deal with tornadoes, right? And you got to deal with winter. And if you live on the Gulf Coast and in Florida, you got to deal with hurricanes. I never thought living in the Midwest I would deal with a hurricane. But they say it only happens once every 50 to 100 years, so the next time it happens, I don't have to worry about it. Any other prayer? Yes.
If you know of anybody that's dealing with COVID, encourage them to keep moving. Because a lot of them, the COVID isn't going to get them, but the pneumonia will.
Right.
That follows it. We've got neighbors that both have it, and they are too weak to move. So they're not moving. And they're younger than me. So just encourage people to keep moving, do what they can. Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, don't overdo it, but keep moving.
Yeah.
Keep moving. Yes. Quite the list today. Anybody else? Now let's be in prayer together. Creator God, creating still. We marvel at the wonders of your creation. And we know sometimes certain aspects of creation seem to get a little out of control. And those situations can be difficult and challenging. But help us to remember that in those difficult and challenging times, we're not alone. You're with us. Not to mention our friends, our neighbors, our family members that seem to rally round when the going gets tough. In my personal theology, I do not believe that you send these difficult times as some kind of a challenge to us. But it is amazing to see how the difficult times can bring the best out of so many. As they reach out, even those that have very little to give, to help those who have lost everything. So thank you for the capacity to give. And Lord, the list is long today of people who are facing illnesses of body, mind, and spirit, those who are facing surgeries, those whose life journey here on earth has come to a close. And we know that the end of August going on into Labor Day, a lot of people are going to get those one last vacations in, which means a lot of people on the roads. Keep them safe. And as we bid farewell to August and come into September, we move ever closer to harvest.